So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. It's education and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello everyone and welcome to the P.A.C.E Radio Show. We are live here at LifestyleRadio.ca, but we can also be found at Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, as well as at Shoutcast. My name is Al Graham, and I'm the host tonight. And as you know, as any other show, I'm never alone. And tonight, I'm joined by my joint host, the very well-known Allison Meriden. Allison?
And always causing trouble, here I is. Hi, everybody.
Yes, you are. Yes, actually, some of our discussion tonight will be about some of that trouble you've been causing.
You betcha, honey. Always a busy day in the life of Allison Meriden, that's for sure.
That's right, that's right. Well, I haven't talked to you in a month. How you been?
Oh, up and down like a flippin' yo-yo, but haven't we all, sweetie? With what's going on with Allard, some of us are just suffering like no tomorrow, so hopefully answers are coming soon. That's all that matters, honey. We're alive. We're alive, everybody.
That's right. We'll get into that tonight, because we've got 2 more weeks to go. So.
Yes, we do, darling.
All right, as everybody knows, we usually start off the show with some news. We're going to do one news article, and then for some other news, we're going to bring our guest in. And what we're going to talk about first here, Allison, is a situation that I just can't understand.
Sad story.
It is a very sad story. And what I can't understand is in a situation where if a parent doesn't give their medication to a child, that parent is in a situation where they could be, in a trouble with those who look after children, CAS, the authorities, all those type of people, for not giving their medication. And yet here we have this story today about this 11-year-old girl with a very rare disease.
Yes.
And she's licensed with health, licensed by an LP here in Canada to buy her medicine.
I believe it's the little boy, Francesco.
Yes.
Yes.
And he's been on some oil, and he's been doing very well. He was 10 seizures a day, and since he's been taking the oil, he goes days without seizures.
None, I know. Isn't that unbelievable?
Yes.
Not for us, but for others.
Yes, and there's times where his mother needs a bit of time away, and he is taken care of by some other people. And they've gotten to the point where they're refusing to give him his cannabis oil. So, if they're refusing to give treatment to a child that way, would that not be equivalent to a parent refusing to give their child treatment?
You would think so, Al. And honestly, it comes down to so many policies that surround the places like hospitals, etc., about children's rights, that people like us have to keep speaking up and teaching these people that not only is cannabis one of God's most wonderful and incredible plants and medicines, but that it is saving children like these from these life-threatening seizures.
Yeah, they aren't, when they're handing out other drugs in the hospitals, they're not licensed to handle other things other than, there's policies or procedures that are set up. So, more and more children are getting cannabis as a prescription drug. So why shouldn't the College of Nurses and other bodies start putting those policies and procedures in place for these children?
You would think.
Because, they're not smoking the cannabis. So it's not as if it's going to get into another patient.
No, and it is prescribed in this particular case by a legal Toronto neurologist. Again, but not one nurse in the hospital, in the Toronto Hospital for Sick Kids, will administer this cannabis oil.
Yeah, they don't have to train everybody all at once, but it would be nice for them to be trained all in the end. But Certainly. They could start with assigning a few nurses to this, so that children can get the drug. Obviously, cannabis has been benefiting this child, and if he's going to be away from it, he's going to suffer.
You know, I personally don't see the difficulty with this, Al, because again, it's doctor prescribed.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're taking full responsibility of this child's health into their own hands when they do administer these things.
Yeah.
These are already being registered and monitored and prescribed by legal doctors here in our country in Canada.
Yeah.
So it's egregious as far as I'm concerned of anybody to step up and say, whether it's children or adults alike, anybody, that they should not have access to cannabis as medicine when it is so desperately required.
Yes, exactly.
Not acceptable, Al.
Not acceptable. Alrighty, and for our second part of the news, we want to bring in our guest for tonight. So I will allow you to go ahead and introduce him.
Excuse me. Well, everybody, just so those of you listening know again, this incredible young man who has exploded onto the scene as of 2012, pretty much. 2014, again, he was very active in the media and online. But I would love for you all to meet a very courageous and very brave young man battling the same, sadly enough, disease that I battle, multiple sclerosis, Justin Loizos. Welcome, Justin, honey.
Oh, thank you so much, Allison. That's quite the introduction, and it means a lot coming from you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sweetie, you have been so busy. You deserve it. I'll tell you. We're going to eradicate this entire issue from the face of the planet by the time we're done with people like us on board. Al, yourself, Al Rapp with his show, everybody, Debbie Stoltz-Giffen, Kim Cooper, Marcel. I can't even begin to name all the people, Lori, that ever, have spoken up.
More people speak up, the better we'll all be, man.
Hey,
Amen.
Together we will.
That's right.
We have an army behind us, and that's it. There's so many troops ready to go. And myself, like you, Allison, I'm really sick, so sure, we can come up with these great ideas, but I was just out of the hospital, and we need other people to kind of just grab us by the horns and get activated, and we've seen it. Like my friend Neil, and I've had so many patients in Toronto. Naomi taking the lead here, and she's just a long-time activist. We'll get into everything. There's so many people I could name and mention that I'd really like to thank.
Well, Naomi's a nurse and very well known in the Toronto area activist world, because Naomi, like me, has been doing this for a number of years.
She sure has.
Shout out to Naomi for sure for all the wonderful work that she's done over the years.
Now, before we brought Justin in, we were talking about some news, and we all heard today what happened in Toronto. Some more raids.
There were. Riverdale marijuana dispensary especially.
The last 2 days there's been raids now.
Last 2 days, yeah. The continuation of Project Claudia. They seem to have gone a little bit quieter at this, but the raids are continuing. They haven't stopped. Do you know where all they got in the last few days, last day or two there, Justin?
I may be not 100% accurate in my information, to be fair, but from what I understand, today was Cannabis Culture, 2 locations. I could be wrong. I totally could be wrong.
Yeah, I know they got one of them.
711 Queen Street, I know they hit, Justin. I'm not sure of anything else with Cannabis Culture, but I know, if I can interject, that a cannabis dispensary called Section 56 was also raided today, located on Danforth, 912 Danforth.
What I understood is that, I know the owners, and I was in touch with them. They were raided yesterday, and there was 2 raids along with that, and those were 2 Swede locations.
Yes,
so those ones I can confirm, and they've been confirmed by the police department, but I'm not sure about Cannabis Culture today.
Okay, Cannabis Culture today was all over Facebook.
Just in the news,
I believe there was one other one, Canna Clinic or something.
I must have missed that.
Yeah. So, they are going at them, but as we know, when they take some down, more of them seem to open up. I don't know if they've reduced the numbers overall in the city or not.
I bet you if it's not even, then it's probably pretty close to the same numbers as before. A lot of the people who were closed down continued to operate, And if not in the same storefront capacity, many of them found other avenues to continue to provide for their patients.
Fabulous.
Fabulous, yes.
You know,
Hopefully.
again, as far as I'm concerned, a little bit of activism and a little bit of civil disobedience is not, necessarily neglected at times like this.
No,
So-
and here's the thing. I don't think, I believe it was actually Chris Goodwin who told me a couple of years ago. He said you could never judge how another man fights prohibition. And that really resonated with me, and I think I've repeated it maybe 1,000 times. And it's true.
You.
We don't know what's going to work. Is it going to be the slow, quiet approach? Is it going to be that giant bomb that's dropped? Is it we don't know, but it takes all of us to try and hopefully get really organized in the most effective manner. Once we figure out what it is.
In any battle, you come at it from all sides.
And I find ultimately, again, as many of you know, many of our listeners know too, Justin, I've been doing this for almost 3 decades here in Canada, and I literally have been part of every single part of everything that's gone on in this country, whether it's been a bomb that's been dropped or something that we've led into slowly. Bottom line, again, for 3 decades, I've been fighting this as a patient. And as far as I'm concerned, it is heartbreaking and absolutely disgusting that the government and Prime Minister Trudeau continue to raid and arrest not only patients, but our caregivers and those that are helping us. Again, at the dispensaries and all of these places around the country that are literally taking patients' lives into their hands for the legality of the issue. I think it's disgusting that Justin Trudeau still allows this to happen. I really do.
You're right, Allison. It seems that what they're preparing for is a 2-tiered system where they're going to have legal and illegal cannabis.
You bet.
It's horrible, for them and their friends. I hate to be their friends, but at least people who can be in that sort of corporate regime to control and tax cannabis. They're really going to take us away. And to sort of even go further, I think that, anyways, I won't go too much on what I think, but it's horrible. Right. I think, that's what I think. I think all of it's horrible, and it's initiated by big corporations.
It is, Justin. It's a shame, actually, that patients like us are made to think that way. Because what they don't understand, is that this was ours to begin with. And I don't know who some of these licensed producers and major corporations, et cetera, who are stepping in, think they are trying to take away our rights.
No,
as I said, I have been fighting for decades, just like you, my friend, and we will not stop. We're just gaining more and more momentum every year.
What it was is that I'm not an activist by nature. Maybe I am. I was never active though, or activated until they made the threat of coming into my home and taking out my garden, my right to grow. The only thing keeping me sane, giving me therapy, treating myself, growing a plant, finally as a sick patient at home, right? And then they're telling me I can't anymore. If it wasn't for Jason Wilcox in BC and Vancouver there, I don't know what we'd be doing. We'd all be screwed. It's crazy what they tried to initially rob us all of our right to grow, and that's
again, I think the
that allows
Allard
us to actually take care of ourselves and take care of fellow patients. We can help each other.
And again, just on that note, Justin, I believe the Allard decision is going to have a really impending umbrella across the country involving patients like myself and yourself and anybody else who chooses to garden for ourselves for either the therapeutic benefit or the physical benefit or emotional benefit from the medicine. Bottom line, again, the Allard decision is going to be huge, and I can't wait to hit Parliament Hill at the end of the month to tell them that. Patients like us, again, Justin, I'm so proud of you for speaking up. I know how much it takes out of people. And, every time I worry that people are making themselves more and more, putting their health more at risk by getting out in the public eye. But I'm telling you, sweetie, I don't think you realize how much of an impact you're making on people, by doing what you're doing. Again, I can't thank you enough, honey. Again, there are so many of us.
Allison, I want to thank you. It's crazy that I wouldn't be doing any of this if it wasn't for you, because I think that it was you and Jason Wilcox, I mentioned earlier, when this fight started, you were on the news talking about it. And that got me so active, because I didn't start in the fight initially. You were working with Jason here in Ontario. He was in B.C. And you were on the news. I had talked with Jason, but then I saw you, and it was like something there. There was a woman, a powerful woman with multiple sclerosis on City TV, educating the reporters there about the benefit of our plant, and I was I don't know, I was so encouraged, and I felt empowered. Thank you.
Hey, you know what, honey? I am so impressed by people like you who literally see something like that and get out there and get active. That's all we're saying, Justin, is that we don't want any of us suffering. You know, again, getting back to these, dispensary, arrests, etc. Al, there was a big article just recently that I remember posting everywhere about a fellow in Toronto who's a paralegal who was suing the city of Toronto for $1 million because of the bust going on of all the dispensaries in Toronto. And I don't know if, again, our listeners are aware, but this paralegal made a very good point. I'm so sorry I can't remember his name right now, but he made an excellent point in the article, in so much so that since Terry Parker won the Parker ruling in the year 2000, cannabis has been legal as medicine in Canada, period.
Yeah.
So these dispensaries are 100% legal.
They had 12 months. 12 months ended.
You
12
bet.
months ended long ago.
You bet it did.
Yeah.
And
Years
they never did
ago.
anything then. You bet.
The only-
And they've left it in limbo.
I try to tell patients, patients, there was a gentleman who came into my compassion club, and he was from another compassion club, and a nice gentleman, very well-hearted, and he was getting into it for the right reasons. I'm not going to name the club he was associated with, because it's a bit of a negative statement, and I don't want to reflect on their club specifically, but it just goes to show a lot of what's going in the industry, and potentially what, maybe some of the onlookers from the outside who don't understand our industry were having a problem with.
Yes.
See, there was a person who was owning a compassion club, and he came in to see how I run my compassion club, and he was very open, and I appreciated the fact that he was open and honest. But his form and his legal, what he called legal prescription, was actually not legal, and he was prescribing this to patients. And this type of misinformation is the type of unfortunate consequence of the exponential growth of all the dispensaries. Like, there's a lot of people who did get into it without understanding Parker, without understanding Myrna, without understanding any of the cases, and even Allard that's just happened. So there's certain gray area that allowed us, all the clubs, to go in and work with on that I think that a lot of people may have stepped out of, but and that's why I commend Mark and Jody and Aaron and Pete Melanson and everybody there, because they're not really hiding behind the gaze of medicinal. They're selling it to everyone, and that's not so much jeopardizing sick patients. You know what I mean?
The only thing is, again, that I still honestly, Justin, and I have no problem, as you, I'm sure, are fully aware with anybody having access to cannabis, as far as if they're young, their doctor's, recommendation, and if they're of age. I just have a problem with, again, certain things. We'll talk about it another time. But bottom line, I do believe still that patients, again, are the ones that are being overlooked, even in all of this big umbrella, again, of full legalization here in our country coming soon. I don't want the patients to get lost in all of this kerfuffle of, full legalization.
Well,
Allison, one thing they could do would be, there's one argument that was just brought up, which is interesting, is that our right is not the right to grow. Our right is to access, right? But affordable access, and we get that through cultivation, home cultivation. One could potentially make the argument, rather than having Section 15 initiated, which would make us all free and fair, and hopefully allow everyone to grow under a legalization formula. I don't know if it would quite work like that, but hopefully, if not, what they would try to do is say, look, now it's legal, you can get it anywhere, there's no more fight for access. So the fight for us is far from over. They're going to try to restrict us. It's going to be arbitrary. Let's hope, Allard, we can really fucking, pardon my language, pardon me. It's
beep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's intense. It's so real. Like, it's a takeover, and they're trying to rob us of our medicine.
Yeah, and another thing I thought that they could to deal with the affordability issue is if they got insurance companies to cover all our medication, and then in that way, if they had coverage, then patients would have access and they would.
I think that is excellent, Al. I just posted an article about that too today.
So, all right, guys, we're a little bit past break time. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. We're only on a minor watch, not a big watch.
All good, darling.
All right. And tonight we're going to hear from Allison's favorite band, the Killing Time Band.
Right on again.
All right. And this time we're going to play a song, Don't Be Bitter. and that tonight goes out to all the drivers affected by the street protests that we're going to talk about after the break.
Hey, right on, sweetie.
Okay. And then afterwards, Alice and myself and Justin will continue this conversation when we get back. You're listening to the P.A.C.E. Radio Show here at LifestyleRadio.ca.
Cool.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
When someone's pissing you off, don't get angry. No. Reach in your pocket and get stoned, my friend.
Okay.
Don't be bitter. Just smoke a one-hitter. Whole world's going down a shitter.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled, or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com, on Facebook, CTCP Society, or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
This is Al Graham of the P.A.C.E. Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the P.A.C.E. Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on LifestyleRadio.ca.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
Listen to the words I'm singing. Yeah, everybody knows when your temper blows, just take a step back when it comes to blows. And baby, just rethink it. Don't let us spoil over stuff.
Welcome back. We are the P.A.C.E Radio Show. We are live here at LifestyleRadio.ca. And a big shout out to those listening to us live at other audio outlets such as Shoutcast, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio.
Hey,
yeah. This week on the 420 Radio Show, it returns with another exciting episode. Join Allard and his crew, Lori, Marcel, Ross, and Chris, as they get to interview the people from the extract company known as Thompson Caribou. I'm sure they'll be talking about how it all got started and what kind of products that they have available. So tune in Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time here at LifestyleRadio.ca to find out the answers to these questions and many more. Tonight on the P.A.C.E Radio Show, we are very happy to be joined by Justin Loizos, the man behind the Streets on the Street session protests. And we're also joined by my joint host, Allison Murden. Justin, I mentioned the Streets on the Street session.
No, sessions in the streets.
Sessions in the streets, right.
Streets in the streets would be fun, Al, but sessions would be much more exciting. Justin, tell all our listeners about this incredible thing you guys have been doing out here in Ontario. Here in Canada.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thanks. It's pretty cool. It's basically just a very super friendly protest to bring attention to Bill 178. Basically, what Bill 178 does, it infringes on patients' rights in the sense that it lumps cannabis in with tobacco in this Smoke-Free Ontario Act, and they need to make certain adjustments that basically takes it out or makes regulations that allow for vapor lounges to exist, for places of employment to have vaporization, vapor areas, hospitals, also people who don't use vaporizers or, even cannabis, and areas where you can smoke cannabis because vaporization isn't only effective medicine for patients. It's an extensive issue. Basically, it infringes on our rights that we needed adjusted, and we're taking it to the streets. This isn't even, I'm not going at it. There's a group going at it very strategically on the forefront, the CFBA, kudos to them. They're taking it to all the right avenues and channels through our government. But unfortunately, that doesn't always make the best progress or get the wheels turning as fast as when the people get loud and moved and affected. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take it to the streets.
Hey, honey, awesome. I just wanted you to go back for a second and tell all our listeners what the CFBA stands for, because I know that they may not. Cannabis Friendly Business
Association. Yeah. So basically,
I just wanted to make sure that those who weren't aware knew what you were basing this on, because you're right.
Check them out.
The
They're up to a lot of good
CFBA,
things.
Abby Roach and some of these people involved in that particular organization.
Amy Brown, Marco, and great people. They're all really good, and big shout out to them for what they're doing. And it's it's so complicated, right? And it's a very battle, and they're taking a lot of fronts. So kudos to them.
And again, Justin, kudos to the patients like yourself who stand out in the streets and make everybody aware that the CFBA and all of these other groups support patients like us using cannabis in these various ways, whether it be, as you said, vaporizing, smoking it, or just out and out eating in a cookie or taking oil into your tongue, or in capsules for that matter.
Yeah. You remember not long ago, it was extracts that were
exactly.
So how many these sessions in the streets have you held, and where you been holding them?
Okay, check this out. The first one, I was kind of just like laying in bed and upset, and I was just like, fuck it. Pardon me, I'm very upset, and
we're gonna get a sticker on this one.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I was very upset, and it was just like, we're going to do this. The Black Lives Matter, what they did at Caravana, I thought was very interesting.
Pride.
At Pride.
Oh, pardon me, not Caravana. Caravana was just after that. Pride, sorry. Pardon me. Black Lives Matter at Pride, where they shut it down. Thank you for correcting me. Was very effective. It was debatable, but what protest
certainly was
that? Right? And I thought it was effective in getting the message across. But then, from what they were doing, I realized that maybe there was, with our issue, I feel that, like, everyone's almost on our side, or at least upset enough from our city, from the tax money they're wasting on taking down patients, where it's just like, okay, if we do this in a respectful manner just to get us attention, then we'll hopefully earn the respect of our fellow citizens, and it seems to be working. Basically, the first one, so instead of making it a huge protest, it's just 4 minutes and 20 seconds in an intersection with a lot of signs, information. We started making handouts and to kind of direct to contact our premier and also the CFBA. They were not directly involved in this in any way. I just took it upon ourselves to kind of do that. They definitely helped in some guidance behind the scenes. I don't want to get too much into specifics until I talk to them.
Sure, that's not.
But yeah, like it was good. The first one was great because
support.
Pardon me?
Awesome support.
Amazing support. So here's the thing. So I'm in bed, just whatever, and I put it on Instagram that we're going to take it to the streets, and we're going to shut down the streets. So then a follower / friend, activist, and reporter caught on to this, and we talked about it, and she made a quick article in a local newspaper that's blasted in the Toronto area. It's called the Metro, right? So, yeah.
That was the start.
Shannon, like the woman, and she was on Big Brother, super amazing woman and reporter, and did a great job. Like, kudos to her, because she just took it upon herself. Not only that, got other people there. Like, she was very involved in the initial protest that we shut down Yonge and Bloor, a major intersection. Like, her support was incredible. The whole crew at THC and pardon me upstairs, Vapor Central, the Vapor Lounge. So many activists, Steve Biggs, great friends, my friend Linda, who came out, and we shut down the intersection. It was hot, and it was crazy. Naomi, who we mentioned earlier, actually got struck by a cab.
What?
Yeah.
For real? Oh, that was really, that was one of the things I posted the questions, was well, as far as road rage. So obviously if a cab is going at a patient.
Yeah.
Oh,
so for the most part,
I wouldn't suggest that patients literally challenge vehicles that are 3,000 or 4,000 pounds coming at them. But still, that's terrible.
It was horrible, but you know what? I'll say that I know I've been made aware that Naomi's been in touch with officials, and hopefully something comes of it. I think once I start feeling a little better, I'm gonna try to see what I could do and follow up with her.
I certainly
feel horrible
would.
about it. I know she's been proactive about it currently, and at the same time, what we have to know is our second protest was at the same intersection, and we got a lot more support, so that didn't happen again.
Now, you had good support. I believe you had, from what I saw in the video, more people were in attendance, but also the police helped you, did they not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was doing a bit of an interview beforehand with with Vice Media, because because of that whole thing with Shannon putting it on Metro, and then our local CP24 after Toronto News. Then they got wind of it, and it turned into like now a national or international issue, at least seen. So it got a lot of traction, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing it, my phone, as soon as it stopped, I checked my phone, and we're walking over.
Probably
It's just like, police are everywhere. Police are everywhere. Police are everywhere.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, no. So I'm getting nervous. And then I told the producer, I said, yeah. And she said, what do you think? And I was honestly, I said, I don't know. I guess we're going to get shut down. What are you going to expect?
Never, my friend.
The one thing I'll say is that everybody there, I think, was thinking the same thing.
Right.
Every single one of the protesters, at first, the police outnumbered us.
Right.
And then more people were showing up.
Wow.
And
right on.
Not one person mentioned to not go into the intersection.
Beautiful. Can I just interject?
I was so inspired by everybody I was with. It was incredible. And then the sergeant comes over, and he was, like very police-like. Very, he was an officer, comes over. Who's in charge here? And, I'm just like, no one's really in charge, and we're just a bunch of patients going to take to the streets here. And he's like, what are you going to do? Like, come on, just give me a break, And I'm like, all right, we're going to be shutting down the intersection. And he's like, all right, we're here to support you, and we're going to help you out.
Beautiful. That's exactly, Justin, what happened to us in Ottawa when we took your advice and did a session in the streets in Ottawa on July 11th. With Neil Hanlon and Sebastian Wardell and Stitch Grady. There were some absolutely, Darcy Peterson, his beautiful wife Chantal. There were so many patients.
Amazing.
And again, Justin, all of them thought as soon as the police showed up that it was going to get shut down and stopped.
Right.
And I was out in the middle of the road saying, don't you dare leave your spot, you keep protesting. And the police came right up to us. It was the funniest thing. And they said, well, we realize you're not going to give up, so how about a police escort to Parliament Hill?
Beautiful.
So, but funny enough, Justin, I want people to know, never, ever stop. You have the right to be civil disobedient in these issues. So I want people to not only make their voices heard, but to do it safely, and to do it again, use signs, make sure that when you protest wherever you are, anywhere in the world, that you hold up the biggest sign and the most colorful sign and the best written sign that you can ever do to show the world what you're fighting.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. That's really important, honey. So, but you know what? Actually, again, the sessions in the streets, just to keep on that topic for a second, as you know, Justin, again, you're part of a big deal going on in Ottawa with Neil Hanlon, again, your friend and mine, I guess now. Neil Hanneman. I have so many friends. Neil Hanneman is the patient like yourself that's organizing things in Ottawa. And I don't know if you guys want to talk about that at all, if you want to mention that to the listeners and see if we can get a few more of us out there.
I think like you guys did it in Ottawa, Justin's doing it in Toronto. The more the merrier. If you can get these spread around. And
hey, I'm just a pawn. Justin is, again, Justin and Neil Hanneman are the ones that are leading.
And like, you're only doing it for 4 minutes, so it's not as if you're holding people up for hours or anything. It's only 4 minutes, so it's on a Friday.
Well, we kind of did it, I was saying to Justin earlier, a little differently. We did it for about half an hour. But that's because I'm an old school protester, and I wanted to make darn sure that Ottawa knew we were there. So we held up traffic right at Wellington and somewhere for half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour before we hit Parliament Hill the day we did it, July 11th, 2016. So I'm sure there were people upset with us, but you know what, again, sorry everybody listening, I don't care. Try living a day in our lives and then see if you care how we feel.
And then being forced into the street to use our medicine, the one thing that helps us.
Well,
or into a back alley for sure.
Yeah. We'll come back into this right after the break. We go to break again because I do have some questions in regards to the laws and things like that with this 30-foot limit that we're required to meet. But for now, we'll just go for a break. We're going to hear some more of Allison's favorite group, the Killing Time Band, and their song "Don't Be Bitter," and then we're going to continue our conversation with Justin. Sorry. You're listening to the P.A.C.E. Radio Show here at Lifestyle Radio. LifestyleRadio.ca.
I just love
You're listening to the P.A.C.E. Radio.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Don't be bitter, just smoke a one-hitter. Whole world's going down the shitter. It don't mean nothing, it ain't another but chicken away. Listen to the words that I'm singing.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
The National Task Force on Medicinal Cannabis is a group of not-for-profit organizations dedicated to influencing government policy with factual evidence. Our mission is to ensure that a constitutional medical program is developed that will address the concerns of all Canadians that require therapeutic cannabis. The task force is looking for dedicated people who are willing to contribute to our cause. We have formed this task force to foster a unified approach and focus on lobbying the federal government and Health Canada. We represent the combined expertise of thousands of patients with more than a decade of experience. As a task force participant, you, your business, or your group will have an opportunity to show that you care and offer your unique skills to promote the cause. If you would like to get involved, go to medcanataskforce.org. That's medcanataskforce.org and use the Contact Us link to get started. Help us help you.
Tune into the P.A.C.E. Radio Show and catch Kim Cooper, Debbie Stoltz-Giffen, or Allison Murden, along with myself, Al Graham, as we talk to Canadian and international cannabis advocates who are working hard to help patients and to end cannabis prohibition. Catch us live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at LifestyleRadio.ca.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with C.C. Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. C.C. Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Got a pain or two, you don't know what to do, just listen, my friend, here's what to do, just smoke this shit and feel amazing. I forget all the hot big farmers alive, take a big toke, reach for the sky, and baby.
Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in to the P.A.C.E. Radio Show. We are being broadcasted live right here at LifestyleRadio.ca. But if you missed the live show, you can always catch the podcast at Shoutcast, YouTube, or actually not Shoutcast, Mixcloud, I'm sorry. YouTube, yeah, it happens.
And Spreaker.
And you know what? No, that's live there. But our listeners in the USA, people in the US, they can now catch our podcast at iHeartRadio.
iHeart, I was going to say, I knew that.
That's right, yes.
All right.
So tonight, as you can tell, Allison is with me, as well as our guest, Justin Loizos, who is involved in the Cannabis Rights Coalition, as well as the Sessions in the Streets. I got that right this time, didn't I?
Yes,
Sessions in the Street. Now, during the break, Justin, you gave us a little bit of news on something that there's a possibility that these will be growing, maybe some other locations?
Yeah, that was... Okay, we have one mission with the Session in the Streets particularly, to amend Bill 178.
Correct.
So, until that happens, we're going to keep shutting down the streets. And as we're doing it, like, before we even did it, Neil Hanneman and Allison and Alex and Ming and even Sandy and, so many good people got out to the street there and shut it down. That was before I even did it. It was amazing. Like, that is activism at its finest. Action.
Hey, honey, together we will.
And so in the background now, we've had, other patients from different areas. I put a call out a little while ago, and I think now with the second section, we've had more. I've had some outreach. I've been my inbox has been kind of full today.
Yeah.
And I've been my computer's broken. My other, I can tell you, but I need to heal right now. Is the thing.
I was gonna say, there's things happen for a reason, Justin.
Yeah. But I think in the next day or so, I'm going to be able to start organizing and helping to bring together maybe some other communities around Ontario to just mimic the Sessions in the street. And then we were thinking about, a good friend of mine, Master Rolla. He came up with Dave. I was brainstorming them with him one night not long ago, and he came up with this great idea of doing a single lane shutdown, right? So if you're short on people and you want to continue for a longer period of time, shut down each lane for 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
You bet. Hey, why not, Justin? I think that is incredible that you just spread the word. Again, every generation is going to have new ideas, and I just love the fact that you guys are bringing these to the plate to be able to bring them up so that we'll be able to focus on this and maybe put it into action. I think that's awesome, honey.
Thank you.
I really do. Again, as I mentioned, I've been doing this for so long, longer than a lot of people have been alive that are listening into our shows. Bottom line, I think what I want people to understand is not so much that I've been doing it, but that people long before I even started getting involved were doing this sort of thing too. And that we are just a continuous voice, all of us together are just literally one voice.
All part of the big snowball that started many, many years ago. That's rolling and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, one of these days it's just going to, it's going to break that. Yeah, it's going to break through Prohibition.
Hey, just so people are interested and knowing exactly what I'm going to say next, I want you to drop by my website at AllisonMurden.com, and I'm going to make sure that Gary Lynch, my partner, puts out the fact that one of our best-selling T-shirts is exactly about that. It's entitled "Join the Cannabis Revolution." ... It's a joint effort.
Yes, it is exactly. It is. It's
so
everybody.
Don't forget.
It's everybody joining in, and Justin has been doing a great job in getting people to join in.
Exactly.
Whether it's the Sessions in the Streets has been we've commented, it's been in the news. It's been in the news. Vice did a great video on there.
Sure did. You bet.
Yeah.
Lots of views. 200 to 300,000 people have viewed that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Media.
Yeah, it was 236,000 people. Now, you're only holding the area up for 4 minutes. There's only the people who are right there that are being blocked, but yet something that short, affecting a few people, can be reached out to 250,000 people within a matter of days.
Beautiful. And again, Justin, I wanted to make sure that our listeners were very aware again that this particular Sessions in the Street is only going on in Ontario, Canada, because of us fighting Bill 178 in our provincial government offices right now, going through, as I said, ready to be made a bill. So as far as people are concerned, they need to know, again, this is Ontario, Canada, and this is why it's, I think, making as much news as it is because, again, patients like yourself, Justin, who are stepping up and speaking up, people know, again, how much of a rough time some of us have had over the last few years with different issues that we've had with our health. Sadly enough, now you're having problems with your health, but I want to make sure that everybody out there listening understands that we need your help, that you are the one that will make the difference. Not the guy, not your friend beside you and not your cousin across the room, but I want you personally to stand up and actually make it a daily plan of yours to help this issue.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's got to get involved. Everybody.
Well, again,
and we all have different skill sets, right? So
most definitely.
We all have different sets, like you said, and everybody can put those things to work in order to reach as many people as possible to make change. And I've always said you gotta educate the grassroots people in order to get the politicians to change things.
We sure do, Al, and that's exactly it. Sadly enough, it starts at the bottom. And I remember again when I started to do things, Justin, and Al as well, I remember again my biggest thing when I first came out to the media like you, Justin, I was thinking, what am I going to do? I'm not an activist. I just want to get, this message heard. And I remember I had one agenda, and that was to put this issue of cannabis as medicine on every dinner table all around the world. And I'll tell you, with all of us together, we have more than done that, my friends. So again, these sessions in the streets, Justin, again, coming up at the end of the month, we have a ruling. The Allard injunction from Justice Phelan. Apparently, Justice Phelan is going to release the ruling on August 24th, 2016.
So that's when the government's going to announce a new program.
Exactly, and the same day, Justin Trudeau is coming out with the rules on legalization here in Canada. Of cannabis here in Canada. Two things happening out the same day. I don't know if you're aware.
No, I'm not aware of this.
Yeah,
about the legalization announcement. I know about the Allard. They're coming out with the new program will more than likely happen on the 24th. And just so you know, by the way, we will be broadcasting about that. Yes.
Good.
It's 2 weeks tonight. I know that night. We have Debbie Stoltz-Giffen is arranged for the National Task Force for the cannabis community to be on the show, and I believe we're also going to be broadcasting when it's being released. So if it's at 10 in the morning, I'm sure we'll have a group of us together to discuss that. So I thought I'd get that in there when we got there.
That's excellent, Al. I'm glad you're doing that because, again, this is really important. There are two big decisions coming out that day in Canada, and I want people to know they're two totally different decisions. One is, again, regarding patients that are licensed under the medical marijuana access regulations, which is now the medical marijuana purpose regulations or something like that, for purpose regulations. But also it's changed once again to now being licensed producers. We are all in limbo until this ruling comes down on the 24th from Justice Phelan. But again, an NDP and Liberal insiders both told me that the ruling is coming out on August 24th from Justin Trudeau, but also on the 25th there'll be a big bomb drop from the NDP that people are going to probably want to pay attention to regarding decriminalization and completely removing cannabis from the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act once and for all through the NDP. So there's lots going on, everybody. Just be aware.
This could be really, really interesting.
Crazy month. It'll be a crazy month. You just watch Canada. Canada is going to explode on the map of, the world as far as cannabis is concerned.
So, Justin, you were involved with the Cannabis Rights Coalition and Jason and them. And you mentioned earlier that we didn't win the right to grow, but it's more about the access and everything. What do you see coming down the pipe? Wait
a sec, Al. Sorry, I don't mean to interject, but we're going to find out on the 24th about our right to grow. So
right, yeah. I'm just wondering Justin's worked on this. I'm just wondering what his opinion is. I see people have polls out there for plant limits, whatever. So.
But I have something to say after Justin speaks too, and I want you to know it's from Kirk Tusa. So go ahead, Justin.
Go right ahead.
Fill us in, Justin.
No, I mean, hey, let's hear what Kirk has to say, please.
Well, I just want patients to know, again, that are licensed like myself, that are some of the higher limits, over 100 grams a day, that as of about a month and a half ago, Kirk Tusa had one for 5 patients out on the West Coast with limits of 100 grams or more a day to be able to garden for themselves and take care of their own medicine.
So that looks good, that there's a good chance that
so
that
you better believe
could happen.
You better believe we are not going to lose our rights. I can promise you that much. Whether the judges let it out or not already, that's what's going to happen, people. We have rights in this country.
I think, like, I'll tell you exactly what I think after, but just to touch on that a little bit, you guys mentioned earlier about maybe an insurance program being put in, like a regulatory system that at the same time, if they make an announcement of the legalization formula that's going to include a system of medicinal cannabis that is covered by insurance and provincial formularies that go through disability support to attain cannabis. I don't know how they'll do it specifically, but it's possible. If that happens, then I don't know if we would be able to continue to grow specifically without a fight. Like, it would just change the dynamic of the fight, and we'll continue to grow, hopefully under injunction, but it'd be a different battle that we would have to challenge the government on. And I would really leave that to, Jason and Conroy. And
you know what? That's a very good point, Justin. That's why I have Alan Young as my personal lawyer. That's why Kirk Tusa, John Conroy, Eugene Oscapella, Paul Lewin, all of these lawyers all across in, the Toronto area specifically work very closely with us. Eugene's from Ottawa. But again, all of these lawyers, Justin, and all of our listeners, a lot of us have known for decades, so we know where our rights are, and we keep in touch with what's going on because specifically, again, I'm one of the higher limits in the country, and I refuse to give up my right to garden. So as long as I'm fighting, guaranteed you have that same right. So
I'll be fighting right beside you, Allison, for sure. It's just interesting to see that for people to know that legalization isn't going to be a field of dreams as per se. There's going to be a lot of people still prosecuted. There's going to be a lot of victims, and a lot of us patients are going to have to continue to fight.
You know what, Justin, again, I'm glad you're telling people these things because, again, I'll sorry to interrupt, but a lot of people that I'm talking to, I had 3 people last week tell me they were growing already, and I said, please make me the last person you're telling because it's not legal at all to do that right now.
I want to play the devil's advocate here.
Mm-hmm.
What if they don't come out with allowing people to grow, let's say they put a plant limit on there? Have you heard anything from the lawyers on our side? How they would spring into action or anything along that line?
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. I think that I can't really speak in any official capacity.
Yeah,
but
that's not a problem.
All I can go on, John Conroy, if you go to his website, what he released was what he thinks is probable, possible, and potentially what to expect. I think that he's probably correct in everything that he says, and I really recommend everyone gives it a read. Basically, it's going to be what he imagines is going to be an arbitrary system that gets put in place, because anything that is not put in place that allows patients to grow their own medicine, basically making the MMAR in effect or constitutional, as it would be, then the MMPR being adjusted to do so, or a system that replicates all of the facts of the MMAR that allowed us to grow our own, but not be unconstitutional, to be amended in such a way, then that anything beyond that would be an infringement, and we would have to challenge it.
And a challenge. I was just going to say that. You bet. But
it's going to be challenged instantly. As soon as I know Jay and everyone, the whole Cannabis Rights Coalition, is ready to put the government on trial,
as soon as back on trial, hopefully to hold an injunction. That's what Pomeroy is aiming for. And if there's a lot of ifs, so I suggest really suggest everyone gives it a read. Basically, there's even a slight option that they could continue, and he thinks that they didn't have a great system in place, as we know our government, right? Over the summer, did they come up with anything that's actually going to work and be a great system in 6 months? They had a short window to ask for a extension, but I don't think it's going to be impossible for them to seek an extension. And if it does that, then we'll seek an extension on the injunction will be seek to extend and to also include a change of address for those who and also some extensions on the MMAR. But
You bet. You know, again, it's really important, as Justin said, for people to read up and find out. And if they do have any questions, you know, there are lawyers in your town, in your city, locally, close to you, whom you can go and speak to for free, for having a free consultation for a half an hour at some point during the week. I'm sure there are ways you can find out. And literally throw this at them and say, hey, listen, not only do we need to educate new lawyers like yourselves coming up, but we also need to know, or need you to know, what the lawyers that have been doing this for decades are now processed and have now processed and been able to do for us to this point. So I think that's excellent. Again, people need to know. You know, it's really important that they, you know, find these things out. So
then you'll take it on. You'll be like, wow, this is right. This is true. This is what's happening, and these are the facts. When it's facts, like, I wouldn't do this. Like, we're not crazy. We're real people. We're patients. We're being infringed upon. We're being hurt. We're being attacked. And we'd find the facts. We're right. We're only fighting fights that are unjust, right? We're looking for the truth. We're seeking the truth.
Exactly, and the truth will prevail.
Yeah. Unjust laws and bylaws and regulations. Like you say, we're under attack, especially here in Ontario. Bill 178 and all this stuff going on, you know, with our grows and everything.
You know, and again, you know, with patients not being able to move their licenses in the Allard injunction, there's a lot going on right now that's putting a lot of us in jeopardy. I actually just got medicine again the other day, and again this morning, you know, because I've had such a bad last little while. People don't realize that, you know, again, these sorts of things, it's a choice between food in the fridge and medicine in your system for a lot of us. You know, so those things have to change. And until the government gets that straight, and until the government realizes we are not second-class citizens, that they cannot discriminate against cannabis consumers in any way, shape, or form, then we'll certainly, you know, be able to raise our heads a little higher and say, hey, today's our day.
Yes.
So that's coming. That is coming.
They give us our little respect, our right to autonomy, and for now, respect Section 7.
You bet, exactly. And, you know, that's all we ask for, Justin. As you said again, I want people to know that this is nothing more than our charter right that we're asking for. Here in Canada, we are entitled to quality of life. We are entitled to life, liberty, and health. And if those three things are not completely, you know, taken care of and, you know, looked after once and for all, then you better believe people like us are going to stand up and fight for it. So, but Justin, again, I wanted to kind of take a quick turn. On that same note, as the dispensaries, etc., that have been having these raids in the Toronto area, you yourself have made a very brave move, my friend, and you have opened a dispensary. I was wondering if you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'd love to.
Tell our listeners.
Not so much a dispensary, but a true compassion club. Right? Like 2,000 square feet with air evac system, so you could like totally smoke, vaporize anything inside. Members only. I decided after Project Claudia to take the address off and just kind of go under the radar, but it's not so much under the radar because they know we're there. But I just want to do every effort I can to kind of keep open for patients. And Yeah, this is just an effort. I mean, ultimately, I opened up a Compassion Club in Scarborough in September of 2015, SoCo East, with the SoCo Collective.
Right.
And then I just helped to open it with Mark there, and just gave him a hand opening it up and getting things going, and that was an incredible learning experience. And that, to me, was an act of anti-prohibition. I thought that it was very needed, but I also saw that the arbitrary regulations that were put inside the city of Vancouver would cause an exponential growth inside the city of Toronto. So with that being said, I wanted to kind of have a foothold in it and address change and be the first club in Scarborough. That club was subsequently shut down in a raid that was Project Claudia. I had been already I was no longer involved with that particular establishment or SoCo at that point. Right. And they continued to fight their own battle for the good people in Scarborough, coming out, to be a community resource and really a great place for patients. Pardon me, I'm kind of needing medicine soon.
That's okay.
And then they were shut down. But fortunately for myself, I took it upon myself to open up my own Compassion Club with some people, just like a friend, for some financial backing, because I still don't have any money, right?
Right.
But whatever, I'm not in it for money. I never was. I didn't care.
Right.
Like, I got cannabis out of doing the other deal, the East, and I was able to subsequently keep myself out of the hospital for the longest period of time for the amount of cannabis I was able to consume while doing that. So it was special in that sense alone, and also the lives we were able to touch and help. But now with my new Compassion Club, I'm more fearful now because of the last few days. With cannabis culture, they're really doing things with a very frontline, forward focus, not pretending or mixing or anything.
And not just medical.
They're really out there. So their raid weekend was coming, and I actually just messaged Erin not so long ago, and thinking there was a raid, and asking, I feel for her and her family and Chris and all of them and Pete. It's horrible what they have to go through, all of the people, but they're out there, and this is a war, and they're frontline soldiers, so kudos to them. And then with Section 56, what I'm getting raided, they're no address known, and they're pretty strict, from what I understand, on their member sign-up.
They're one of the originals.
They've been around for quite a while. Well, Justin, just so you know, if you need to medicate, just go right ahead.
Okay, I'm just gonna take a dab. I got my email lit up here.
There you go. Yeah. We're allowed to medicate during the program. We don't have any problem with that whatsoever.
Hey, don't tell me nobody thinks I've been smoking the whole show. I try not to hide it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. No, that's not a problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know what? Again, it's
I have the
really
medical
hot
bed.
day.
Sometimes it makes a bunch of noise getting up and everything. It was funny. My friend was over today, and anyway, I had my bar against the wall, and it was pretty emotional just telling her the story of when I was using that in the wheelchair and whatnot outside my bed here. So it's multiple sclerosis is a crazy battle with ups and downs, and I've been lucky enough to have on the fight for my ability to walk, and I actually don't feel hindered by this. I feel lucky that I have this option. There's many people who are actually kind of stuck to a wheelchair. And it's horrible.
Again, Justin, I can so understand as I look at my electric wheelchair, and it's the third one I've had at 52. So, these sorts of things are very frustrating. I, like you, try to stay out of it as much as I can, but haven't had a lot of luck the last few years because of my, low dosage of medical cannabis, among other things. But, still, these are the things that we have to deal with as patients. And I'm glad that you're honest enough to tell people it does suck to have MS, and it certainly does suck to be in a wheelchair. So, but again, just quickly, Justin, I think I've told everybody this a million times, but one of the things I love to do to help me get through some days, because some days are definitely difficult, is I like to make jokes and I love to make people laugh. So I tell everybody I don't really have MS. I am a mess. MESS, as you all know, because it's much easier to explain.
Yeah.
Well, Allison, you get to talk about why you're a mess. I'm dealing with Crohn's, and I make a mess.
I know.
Oh no,
we're all a mess.
That's rough, Al. I feel for you, buddy.
Yeah, so sorry that I even said that. Now.
It's all right. We all have our pros and cons of our conditions, right?
You know, I'll tell you. And if we weren't laughing about it, you guys, that's why I love y'all. Because if we can't laugh at ourselves,
well, you have to. You know, it's
sure
gotta.
do.
You know, you gotta have some fun with it. You know, it's
sure do. You know, again, I hope if there's anything the listeners have taken from the show tonight is that all of us involved here in some way, shape, or form battle our health, and you know, more than others usually. And I think, you know, you make a good point, Al. If we don't laugh and have fun with it, you know, what are we going to do but sit and cry? And I've never even. I don't think I've spent even a week of my life in tears. You know? So not for me.
I get people who come up to me and will start talking to me about bowel movements.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, like who? You know, they sort of apologize and all that, that happens. You know?
As soon as someone finds out, wow, there's someone else we can relate, we can talk about it, and then there's like, you know, even if it's uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable in the sense that I don't know, it's
you can share the uncomfortability though. You know,
good.
And
good that people feel honest and open enough to be like honest with you, Al, you know,
and to be vulnerable, to be able to, you know, at least, you know, speak up and say the truth. You know, we all, again, as Al said, you know, all of us, I think, everywhere have some issues, whether they're emotional, physical, mental. You know, there's something bothering somebody everywhere. And all my life, everybody, I've always said, we all have our crosses to bear. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah,
you know, so
and then when you're vocally open about your illness,
your
people will see you as a beacon and say, look, I'm ill too, and how can we talk? How do we relate?
Yeah.
It's
well, I look at it as by speaking out and talking about your experiences, it helps educate others. And those and for other advocates who are out there, it also helps them to be able to share your story, you know, anonymously, but share, you know, those stories on how this person's benefited or you know, how they've dealt with issues.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So,
well, Justin, again, you know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm probably going to have to call it a night because I'm really not feeling that great. And I'm glad we ended up speaking as long as we did, my friends.
Same
it's
here.
Been an amazing night, Justin. Thank you so much.
So, Justin, this is the time where we get to do the shout out. You get to throw out a website or highlight a person or people or whatever you'd like to do.
Okay, right now, first and foremost, Erin Goodwin.
Beautiful. Big shout out.
I feel for her. This is madness. It needs to stop. Like, it needs to stop.
So, she is a warrior.
We could also support tomorrow at 9 a.m. City Hall, Toronto. There's going to be a rally, 9 to 12, so 9 a.m. to noon, and trying to be there and show support. I'm going to do my best, but I can't promise I'll be there. But I just try. And
where is it, so that our listeners know where to go?
Pardon me?
Where is it that people are meeting for 9 to noon tomorrow at
City Hall?
City Hall, beautiful.
Toronto City Hall. But just double check if it's old City Hall or new City Hall. Hold on, I can do this. Okay.
You know, either way, sweetheart, that's awesome.
He's checking it out. Hey, you know, good to, give the right information out there. That's fine.
You bet. I think that's important because we're going to try and get a lot of us out to these events.
We're like, I mean, if you look at old City Hall, new City Hall, there could, like myself, I don't know where, you know, where
I wouldn't know the difference.
No,
I made a mistake. The last one, I went to new City Hall when I was supposed to go to old City Hall, and in doing so, I was late. But happened to go on a very interesting kind of festival there for immigration, for immigrants. No, and for it was really nice. Okay, so I found the
As I was late, it was a great kind of learning experience. Okay, Old City Hall, so right at the corner of it's 60 Queen Street West, right on Queen Street, Queen and Bay.
Thank you, Justin. I really appreciate that, as I know do a lot of our listeners who maybe aren't like me in the specific area, so that's wonderful.
And where can the people find information on the sessions in the streets?
Check it out on Facebook, Session in the Street. There was a Vice article that was just done, a video, so look it up. And that's really cool. Then also, I think we're going to try to have we just got the hotel. It's short notice, so whatever, but we just want to get as many patients as we can out for the 24th, 25th, and going to get a bus going from Toronto to Ottawa, and that's going to be my next project as we're working on it with Neil, and yeah, so big shout out to Neil, my buddy in Ottawa there, for all the hard work he's doing.
Grady and all the people organizing out there, for sure, Justin. I agree, darling. You know what, again, come the 24th, we are all going to be on Parliament Hill, and we're all going to be heard. So, whether it's a session in the streets to start the day and then ending up with a barbecue at the end of the day at one of the Compassion Clubs, hopefully the Ottawa Compassion, is it the Ottawa Cannabis Dispensary, OCD or something. I love the fact that those people are so heavily involved in things. And again, Justin, if I can just thank you, Neil Hanneman, Stitch Grady, all of the wonderful people in Toronto and Ottawa alike. You guys all totally rock for getting out there. I wish I could get out these days. Again,
I forgot to say thank you to Stitch. Thank you, Stitch. It was so nice speaking with you, and big shout out. And it's great having an army there, having an army here, and all my friends that are here. So all the people in Toronto who made this possible, thank you.
This bus, the information will be available someplace?
Yeah, I guess Facebook. We can figure it out. Check it out. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and that'll be for the most part. I have MJ vs. MS, a website that marijuana and versus multiple sclerosis, mjvsms.ca, and I'll try to put some information up there as well. And that's just something there. I just kind of like some videos of myself and whatever, try to encourage some other
your work, sweetie, what you've done so far. You're amazing. You keep up the good work. But before I let you go, I just want to say once again, thank you for putting your health and really your life in jeopardy to help the rest of us.
Yeah, walking out in front of traffic, man.
Everything, sweetie.
Yeah, Allison, did you want to throw a shout out to your event on the 25th?
You know what? It's not my event, honey. Again, I'm just tagging along with Justin Loizos and Neil Hanneman and Stitch Grady and some of the other incredible people in this area, in this country. Literally when I get a phone call, if I can be there, I'm there, girls and boys.
So where will they find you on the 25th?
They will find me, everybody will find me as usual in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, right on Parliament Hill for the news, either on the 24th or the morning of the 25th.
All right.
Either way, I'm going to be there.
Okie dokie. Now we know where to find you.
You betcha.
Okay, this is a reminder to let everybody know that I'll be back next Wednesday with my joint host Tim Cooper and her scheduled guest Lisa Mumakine Kirkman, who will be here to talk to us. Yeah, she's going to be here to talk to us about a recent court challenge, her win there. And I'd also like to remind everybody that on the 24th or whenever it comes out, we're going to be broadcasting live about the new medical marijuana program that we have in Canada. All right, and you can let everybody know that you can find P.A.C.E on Twitter at P.A.C.E Radio, and you can also like us on Facebook, and we are found on the web at P.A.C.E-online.ca. Our thank yous tonight go out to our sponsors, the friendly folks at BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario, CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler, Al Rapp, always, of LifestyleRadio.ca.
Right on, Al.
And a big thank you to our guest, Justin Loizos, who tonight wore mini hats. And to you, Allison.
Hey. To you, my darling. Totally dig the show, as always. thank you again to everybody who's tuning in on a regular basis.
That's right.
You guys rock.
Always a thank you to our listeners. Thank you. And good night.
Hey, good night.
Thank you. And good night.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle